From our Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Zahra Syed. Our top story for today. Washington State Representative Riaz was attacked in the city of Mukilteo on Saturday. Khan is a former member of the Mukilteo City Council and is currently the 21st Legislative District State Representative for the Republican Party. He was attacked by two unidentified men while he was installing campaign signs. Khan said the two men struck him with sticks and then fled the scene. Officers searched the area for suspects, but none were found. More than 75 million Americans have voted early in the United States presidential election, according to the data released last Saturday. The figures from the University of Florida's election lab tracker show that 75,093,872 people have voted either by mail or in person at polling stations. More voters chose to vote in person than by mail this presidential election cycle. The number of registered voters in the United States is approximately 168 million people. Democratic presidential nominee Vice President Kamala Harris and Republican challenger Donald Trump held rallies in southern swing states less than 2 days before Election Day. Harris held a rally in Atlanta and attended an event in Charlotte, North Carolina. Trump campaigned in Gastonia, North Carolina, then traveled to Salem, Virginia, before returning to Greensboro in North Carolina. During her Georgia rally, Harris said Trump is focused on his enemies list, adding that if he elected, she will be focused on her to-do list. At his rallies, Trump said he would usher in an American golden age. In North Carolina, he said, "Kamala broke it, I will fix it, and America will be rich again." Polling indicates Harris and Trump are locked in a dead heat, particularly in the 7 battleground states. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton has expressed concern that Donald Trump may refuse to accept the results of the presidential election if he loses to Vice President Kamala Harris on Tuesday. In an interview on CNN, Bolton said the nation should be ready for it and emphasized the need for vigilance. His remarks come amid Trump's efforts to cast doubt on the election's legitimacy. Trump claims he is already winning in key swing states like Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. A recent CNN poll reveals that a majority of American voters doubt that the Republican presidential candidate would concede if he loses. Only 30% of registered voters believe Trump would accept defeat, while 73% think Democratic nominee Kamala Harris would concede if she loses. Amongst Harris's supporters, 95% do not expect Trump to concede, whereas 57% of Trump's supporters believe he would accept the results. The Muslim mayor of Dearborn, Michigan, Abdullah Hammoud, refused requests to meet with Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump during a campaign stop in the city on Friday. The architect of the Muslim ban is making a campaign stop in Dearborn, he said on X, explaining his reasons for the refusal. "People in this community know what Trump stands for. We suffered through it for years." He added that Trump will never be my president, reflecting the sentiments of many in the Muslim community who view the former president's past policies as harmful. Hammoud also addressed the Democratic Party, urging leaders to reconsider their actions and unwillingness to stop funding and enabling Israel's genocide in Gaza. Michigan Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib did not ask for support for Democratic presidential candidate Vice President Kamala Harris during a recent campaign event. According to Politico, the Palestinian American representative spoke on Friday at a United Auto Workers rally in Detroit. There, Tlaib encouraged union members to vote, but sought support for other Democratic candidates further down the ballot. There are indications Muslim voters in Michigan could sway the results. Democrats and Republicans are actively campaigning there. The American Muslim community has expressed discontent with the Biden administration's support for Israel in its war on Gaza and Lebanon, accusing it of failing to prevent genocide in Palestine. Tlaib is the only Democrat not publicly supporting Harris. She has been vocal in her criticism of the Biden administration's pro-Israel policies. Other Muslim congresspersons like Andre Carson and Ilhan Omar have endorsed Kamala Harris. Election Day is on Tuesday. More than 75 million Americans voted early in the presidential election, according to the University of Florida's election lab tracker. About 1 million more Democrats than Republicans have voted early either in person at polling stations or via mail. Harris vows to end the Gaza war. Details come after the break. Stay tuned and we will be right back.
The 2024 U.S. presidential election is here, and Muslim Network TV is bringing you the coverage that matters, bringing you real-time results and in-depth conversations on what this election means for Muslim Americans and beyond. Our panel of experts, community voices, and political analysts will break down the night's key moments. This election is crucial, and we're here to keep you informed. November 5th and 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern on Muslim Network TV.
Welcome back. Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris has vowed at a Michigan rally on Sunday to do everything in my power to end the war in Gaza. The vice president sought to appeal to the state's Arab and Muslim American voters, as polling suggests they are gravitating towards the Green Party candidate, Jill Stein. It was Harris's final rally in Michigan. Michigan is home to about 240,000 registered Muslim voters, a majority of whom voted for Biden in 2020, helping him to narrowly defeat Republican challenger Donald Trump. Arab Americans and Muslim Americans in the state have expressed dissatisfaction over Harris's stance on Israel's war on Gaza. With Harris and Trump essentially tied in Michigan, a drop in voting numbers for either could be critical.
And I want to say, this year has been difficult, given the scale of death and destruction in Gaza, and given the civilian casualties and displacement in Lebanon. It is devastating. And as president, I will do everything in my power to end the war in Gaza.
A member of the Federal Communications Commission, or the FCC, says Vice President Kamala Harris's recent appearance on Saturday Night Live, commonly known as SNL, violates the equal time rule. Commissioner Brendan Carr posted on the social platform X on Saturday saying it was a clear and blatant effort to evade the regulation and called it biased and partisan conduct. He described it as a licensed broadcaster using the public airwaves to exert its influence for one candidate on the eve of an election. The FCC's equal time rules let rival candidates ask for equal airtime. Carr is the senior Republican on the commission who was appointed by former President Donald Trump. During her SNL appearance, Harris joined comedian Maya Rudolph for a sketch. An all-time high of at least 170 Native American, Native Hawaiians, and Native Alaskans are on ballot for Tuesday's presidential election. That's according to a database collected by the group Advanced Native Political Leadership. The organization has been tracking Indigenous candidates dating back to 2016, from school boards all the way to Congress. Yet observers say more work needs to be done to have proportional representation for Native American communities. Advanced Native Political Leadership has identified 347 current Native elected officials, less than 0.1% of some 519,000 elected offices nationwide. The organization estimates 17,000 elected officials are needed to achieve parity based on the Native American portion of the United States population, which is 3%. At least 246 Native candidates, including 140 incumbents, ran for office in 25 states this year. Of those, 74 already won or lost their races, withdrew or were disqualified, and are not on the November ballot. Of those who identified with a political party, most were Democrats. Over half of the candidates running this year are female. On MSNBC Friday night, New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez unexpectedly thanked Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson. She expressed appreciation for his admission that the GOP will try to repeal the CHIPS and Science Act if the party wins control of Congress and the White House. The act has created more than 115,000 manufacturing jobs. You heard it right from the horse's mouth. And we'll see exactly what happens if we allow a Republican majority in the House and a Donald Trump presidency, the New York Democrat said. Ocasio Cortez was referring to an interview by Syracuse University student journalist Luke Riddell. She said, "The CHIPS Act is not a remote and faraway thing for workers in upstate New York, Michigan, Arizona, and other states where jobs have been created by the legislation." The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers echoed the Congresswoman's sentiment, saying Johnson's plan to repeal the CHIPS Act would impact tens of thousands of IBEW jobs created by this administration. "We are not going back," said the union. Johnson's comments came as Ocasio Cortez, United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain, Michigan Representative Rashida Tlaib, and others were rallying union members at a labor-focused Get Out the Vote event in Detroit. The BBC has been accused by more than 100 staffers of providing Israel favorable coverage in its reporting on its war on Gaza. In a letter, journalists called on the broadcaster to recommit to fairness, accuracy, and impartiality. The document was sent to BBC Director General Tim Davie and was signed by more than 230 members of the media industry. The letter criticized the news outlet for failing its editorial standards by lacking consistently fair and accurate evidence-based journalism in its coverage of Gaza. It read, "Every television report, article, and radio interview that has failed to robustly challenge Israeli claims has systematically dehumanized Palestinians. The BBC has denied the claims, insisting that it strives to live up to our responsibility to deliver the most trusted and impartial news." Other British media organizations have also been criticized over the past year for their pro-Israel bias in covering Israel's war on Gaza. India has lodged a protest after Canada linked Indian Home Minister Amit Shah to plots targeting the Sikh community on Canadian soil. Indian Foreign Ministry spokesman Randhir Jaiswal said on Saturday that a representative of the Canadian High Commission was summoned on Friday and handed a note. Jaiswal said the note conveyed that the Indian government protested in the strongest terms what it called the absurd and baseless references made to Shah before a committee by Canada's Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister, David Morrison. Morrison recently informed a parliamentary panel that he told the Washington Post that Shah was behind the assassination plots. There has been a breakdown in Canada-India relations after Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau linked New Delhi to serious crimes against Sikh Canadians. New Delhi has rejected the allegations made by Ottawa. Last month, Canada expelled 6 Indian diplomats. The country's national police force identified them as persons of interest in the June 2023 assassination of Canadian Sikh activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Nijjar was a vocal supporter of the creation of a separate Sikh state in India. The cultural association responsible for the Assona Mosque in the city of Amiens in France filed a legal complaint Friday after a suspected arson attack. The mosque's entrance was set on fire on October 29th. While it caused limited damage, worshippers and neighboring residents see it as a deliberate act targeting the community. Vice President of the association, Bilal Furtado, said worshippers arriving for dawn prayers were alerted of the fire by the smell of smoke. Matches and firelighters found near the scene later pointed to arson. The office of the governor of Somme in northern France condemned the act and expressed support for the Muslim community in Amiens. Investigators have yet to determine the motivations of those responsible. In 2023, reports of Islamophobic acts in France rose by 57%, according to the Collective Against Islamophobia in Europe. France's National Consultative Commission on Human Rights documented a 52% increase in violence against Muslims, noting that 75% of incidents involve threats or insults. A criminal case has been filed at the International Criminal Court, or the ICC, against former Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and 69 associates. It accuses them of crimes against humanity during the country's uprisings in July and August. The complaint, filed October 28th, seeks an independent investigation into alleged crimes committed by Hasina, members of her cabinet, and various law enforcement agencies. Muhammad Ashraful Arifin, a Bangladeshi-origin British lawyer and a plaintiff in the case, revealed details at a press conference in London on Friday. Arifin accused Bangladeshi security forces of deploying live ammunition, rubber bullets, sound grenades, and other lethal weapons against peaceful demonstrators. He added there were claims of bodies being burned and buried in mass graves to cover up evidence. The case has been filed under Article 15 of the Rome Statute, which permits the ICC prosecutor to initiate investigations on the basis of information submitted by individuals. Join us for an exclusive, real-time coverage of the 2024 United States presidential election on November 5th and 6th, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Get live updates expert analysis, and in-depth discussions on what this historic election means for Muslim Americans and communities worldwide. Be part of this crucial moment. Catch every update, every result, and every insight only on Muslim Network TV. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum.